the Army decided, well, you can't send any more money home than you've been paid. Because you got, the first time they did that, they paid $1 million and they sent $3 million home. So not everybody's a good poker player. And, Army life is different. I mean, it's yeah, you think different, you feel different. We had what do you call that? Army of Occupation.
Right.
And we would go out and go through homes and go through barns and everything, and anything that looked like it was military, you'd pick it up and bring it back with you. Huh. And of course, they'd try to hide it and so forth, but it was very disorganized. I think Patton was right. We should have kept going right to Moscow, and we had a lot of trouble with them. And when I was in the Army 3 years overseas, 3.5 years overseas there. I saw one person that I knew before I went in, and that was on the way to Berlin. We were at a rest stop, fueling up our machinery, and the sergeant came over and he said, "Lieutenant over here is out of gas. He wants 5 gallons of gas. Should I give it to him?" And I said, "Hell no!" And I turned around. This guy I went to school with.
Oh my gosh!
Graduated from high school with. And, but we used to give him the gas because you know, out of the middle of nowhere, the Russians were animals. You know, just terrible.
How so?
They'd shoot you. They'd shoot
Even
civilians.
though you were an ally?
Oh, they didn't have any allies. They'd shoot anybody.
Huh.
They have a flat tire. They'd build a fire in the house and put the house on fire so they have enough light to change it. They were. We never went through what they went through during the war, but they were bad people. I think they were bad people. Then there's probably a lot more. I can't think of a lot of those things, you know, that go on. But the war was over. I had enough points to come back home. But before I came back home, I also had a little pull. I went to Switzerland on a furlough. I went to Paris twice, England once, up on the North Sea, and it was all. I was paid to go on these furloughs. I was paid to eat, and it was a wonderful period of time. We had.
This was after the war, before you came home.
Yeah.
After the war was over.
Yeah. And then on the way home, they wanted. I think I told you they wanted people to stay in the reserve, and they sold me on it. I said, well. I was a tech sergeant then, and I figured if I had to go back, I don't want to go back as a private.
Right.
So I said, I'll sign up for it. Well, I had this document that said, we won't be taken until everybody else is taken. Well, we're sitting home, my wife's pregnant, and don't know how that happened, but she was. I get a letter from the Army. I've been transferred to the Organized Reserve. And 30 days later, I got a letter, you've been transferred to the Ready Reserve. And 30 days later, I got a letter, report to Fort Lewis, Washington, 96 hours basic refresher course, immediate shipment overseas. And that was a bad. I didn't want that. I figured I'd been there 4 years and I didn't want to go back over there. Well, I went in the service and I applied for a hardship discharge because we had a business we just started. My wife was pregnant, and they did honor the commitment that they had not drafted me, but called me against my will.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing they did to what's the name of that captain you just said? The Army, the good Army show.
Oh, Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers. That's the same thing they did with that major. They called him back.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go either, but he went.
Yeah.
And
so did you end up serving in Korea, or
no,
did they honored and give you a hardship?
I ended up teaching basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, for this outfit here, the 297th Engineering Aviation Battalion, which was made blacktop landing strips for airplanes. And I know that the battalion major called me. He said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "Let me know." He said, "I want to get out too." They were all from Brooklyn except for like 8 of us. And I've never even had basic training.
Oh, and you were teaching it.
Here I'm teaching it. It was a different way of life.
So how long were you in that job for the Army?
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. 6 months.
Did your wife come with you?
No.
Pardon me?
Did your wife come with you?
No.
Okay.
You don't mean here. You mean over there?
To there?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I stayed home and ran our
She
business.
was trying to run a business. We had just started. And now it's...
What was your business?
We were in the fuel oil and gasoline business. One nice thing about that was I buy gasoline and fuel oil wholesale. I buy gasoline for 8-9 cents a gallon and sell it for 13. And I made money. The company made money. The gas station owner made money. And now we're at $3.50, and I'm going broke.
Wasn't it? It came down a little, George. It's down to $3 or something, so it's not quite 3.5. But I understand.
Okay.
Wow.
Basically, that was it. I guess I can't. Oh, there was other things, but I mean, you forget them.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I would remember more, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to have this opportunity because I know the kids have always wanted me to do it, and you just never get around to doing it.
Right.
Yeah, we'll talk about Hurlesheim, France.
Oh, can you talk about Hurlesheim, France? Laura said to remind you about that.
Yeah, well, that was the first battle that the 12th Hammer Division entered into was a town called Hurlesheim. It's in Alsace-Lorraine, and supposedly there was like maybe 1,000 troops against us, and this was at the start of the Battle of the Bulge, and we had 3 divisions against us, 2 Panther divisions and a infantry division, and they basically wiped out our infantry. We had 3 battalions of infantry, and they wiped them out. We were just overwhelmed, but we didn't back up. We just got shot. We stayed there until we were relieved by I think it was the 36th Division, which was an infantry division. And
Why was it interesting?
well, after the war, they had we had an army reunion in conjunction with Hurlesheim had a a monument to the American soldiers that had liberated the town. And I think it was 27 of us went over for that. And we weren't really aware of how big of a deal this was. The American ambassador was there, the French ambassador was there. They had Army, Navy, troops, and they had a town. It was about the size of Charlevoix, a town, and it had a school. And they called it a college, but it was just basically a high school. They had a great big ceremony there, and then they unveiled this statue, to end all wars. And we, my wife went with me on that, and we decided that the two of us that we would like to know where the local people went. We had gone up the Rhine on a boat from Amsterdam all the way up there to that, and they let us off up there. And so we captured these three guys. They had one of these little tiny cars, two-seater, and we got 5 people in it. And they took us to all the places they wanted to go. Actually, we paid for it, but we had really a good time.
Well, that's good.
And the following morning, the chief of the fire department, it was named Goetz, G-O-E-T-Z, and he wanted me to take his uniform. He gave me his helmet. He said, take his uniform, the great big heavy wool uniform they wear for dress. I did take the helmet, but I didn't take anything else. So when he called us, we went over and looked at the fire department. The lone fire engine in there was a Ward La France made in 1921, and that still ran.
Wow.
He cranked it, one cranked like that, and it started right up. That was the year of my birth.
Oh, jeez.
But we kept in contact with the people from there for quite a period of time. But Hurlesheim was a tough nut for us to crack.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you wanted to say.
Well, how they were all crying as you came into town.
I mean?
When you liberated them, how the people stood on the side.
Oh yeah, when we all were coming into town, they were, all out there crying and just couldn't believe that we came back.
Yeah.
And but the French people liked us. The French government doesn't like us, but the French people like us, and the Germans liked us because we were paying for everything. Can't think. Anything else you think of?
Well, I just wanted to know, how did going over to Europe affect you, and did it going over to Europe, being in the Army, change the way you were as a person? I'm sure it did, but how, in your words, how did it change you?
Well, I said that if I ever went back to school, which I didn't, I had been going to school at the Michigan College Mines up in Houghton. I'd like to go back like I went in the service, because when we went to El Paso, the Texas College of Mines, why you marched to breakfast, you marched to class, you marched back from breakfast. They had you programmed every day. At 5 o'clock at night, it was like a job. You're done. And I said, now that's the way I want to go back. But I never got around to it. As far as changing me, I saw a lot of the world, and I saw a lot of things that I never expect to see. And I hope I never see them again. But I don't think it changed me much. I mean, it's from what I was when I went in.
How old were you when you went in?
When I went to service?
Yeah.
21.
21, okay.
My father wouldn't let me, sign so I could go in. I could have been drafted, but I wanted to enlist because if I enlisted, I got a choice of where I was going.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a pilot. And every time it came up, wherever you were, if, you want to fall out for a 6-4 physical, I did, but I never could pass the physical. I couldn't see. You had to have 20/20 eyes,
For
uncorrected. And I couldn't see. But I met a lot of nice people. There was still contact with some of them, Of course, it's the 12th Army Division used to have, I'd say 5 years ago, they'd have 1,000 people at our annual convention. Well, now down to 300, and they're losing every day. You're losing, I don't know why I'm still here, but I'm still here. We did take a bridge. Can you see that?
Yep. He's got a really good focus.
Okay.
This is a tank transporter.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
And those are multiple 50s on the
Okay.
on the back end of it. And this is the document that says that they're not going to take me.
Good.
Kind of like taxes sometimes, isn't it, George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was from the commanding officer of the company. It's as a platoon sergeant, what I did over and above the
Line of duty?
line of duty. And this is during the 18th, March 9th, 1945. We traveled 1,500 miles over difficult roads and weather with 400 tons of 105 ammunition from various supply points. So they called where they give you a combination for that also. And when I was at Will Rogers Field, there was an outfit there called the 21st Observation Squadron, and they were having quite a bit of difficulty. They were losing about a plane a day, and there was the man-made lake right outside of this guy crashed in it, and they asked for volunteers to go look for the bodies, and I volunteered for that, and they were pretty good. I mean, they gave us an extra shot of tetanus and said, go have a cup of coffee and thanks. But we did try to do something.